Trouble on the water. A boat capsizes with 10 people on board.
It's a small boat for that number of people.
And only Chopper 10 can give you this view of the rescue and what victims did to survive. And police say she abandoned her baby.
It was still in a plastic bag, had towels wrapped around it, still had the cord, blood on it, and you could just see it breathing.
The feral cat colony across the street from Tortilla West Restaurant in Norfolk has had several names over the years. Tortilla East, Tortilla More West. The cats are well known at local businesses.
Everybody at the bakehouse, including the owner, has no problem whatsoever with the cats. In fact, we kind of like having them around. Karen Louderback, who has volunteered to help trap, neuter, or spay and release the cats from the colony in a process called TNR, says a wooden feeding house has served an important purpose since someone built it around 7 years ago.
And placed there to keep the food drier for the cats, but also kind of curb appeal for the presence of the cats. The structure had a mailbox, and sometimes I would find donations inside. One time the cats got a Christmas card from someone.
Louderback says she learned someone recently brought a complaint about the house to animal control. Before she could address it, she says she found the house was gone. In the meantime, someone else brought new houses out there. There are going to be people watching this saying, why does this matter? Feral cats are a nuisance. What do you say to those people?
Well, that's why I say it's important, because this is reducing the number of those nuisance cats, just in a humane way.
Tonight, two developing stories involving the safety of children. First, a hit-and-run driver leaves a young girl to die in the middle of the road. Now she's hanging on at the hospital, and only 10 on your side was there when police say they got their man. Plus, attempted abduction. A child snatched from inside a Norfolk elementary school.
It's really scary. Nothing like this has ever happened, and I'd never expect anything like this to happen. This is a very safe neighborhood.
Cannon 13 was lifted from the NOAA research vessel that recovered the artifact and transported to the North Carolina Maritime Museum in downtown Beaufort. A relatively large crowd of tourists and residents gathered to be among the first to lay eyes on this centuries-old relic from the golden age of piracy.
It's so interesting to see something that's been down for that many years.
Unbelievable I'd ever see anything like this.
The amount of interest generated by the artifacts recovered from the ship is almost as incredible as the lore surrounding the region's most notorious pirate.
The new exhibit opened in June, and we've already had over 100,000 visitors.
I've got to say I'm amazed at the interest, and it's not just in America.
I just got off a call talking with CNN London.
These little Queen Anne pistols were very common.
But these aren't just any pirate's artifacts. This stuff came off the Queen Anne's Revenge, captained by Blackbeard, a pirate who once blockaded the port of Charleston and died in a bloody battle with an armed contingent of the Royal Navy sent from Virginia less than a year after he abandoned the Queen Anne's Revenge in Beaufort.
And it was just a big shootout, like Bonnie and Clyde or Billy the Kid.
Historians believe that may be one of the reasons people are so fascinated by Blackbeard.
We just can't help but respect a man that goes down with his boots on.
You would think that Blackbeard was just a character, but it's cool that he wasn't. He was a real pirate.
And here is the proof for all to see.
When you step onto the grounds of St. Luke's, you're taking a giant step back in time. You're also stepping around stones, headstones, each representing someone who also may have walked this land hundreds of years ago. Chances are each soul represented here spent some time in here, historic St. Luke's Church.
The wicket door is said to have been significant to keep out evil spirits, keep in the heat or the cool, and to keep in, during the Civil War, the horses, which were stabled inside the church while the soldiers slept outside.
Tucked away from the corner of Routes 32 and 10 in Isle of Wight, it has stood for more than 300 years.
The repair on the church in the 1890s and the significant other repair in the 1950s really brought about beauty that we felt was not necessarily original, but significant. There's a stained glass window to Pocahontas back here. She was never in the church, but her family gave the window in her memory. People congregated at these places, so they would spend maybe 8 hours in a church service and have court at the same time.
How long in a church
Sometimes
service?
they were and you were fined if you did not come to the church services.
And after you look up and all around historic St. Luke's, be sure to look down. Just feet from the altar lies the grave of Colonel Joseph Bridger. He died in 1686.
Joseph Bridger was a member of the elite in the 17th century, last half of the 17th century.
Archaeologist Alan Outlaw is among a team of scientists working with the Smithsonian Institute in Washington. They exhumed Bridger's remains back in January as part of research into how the early settlers lived.
We needed actually a skeleton of a known person of high rank in Virginia in the late 17th century.
Bridger's remains have since been reinterred. The results of that research will be included in a major exhibit at the Smithsonian in 2008. It's titled Written in Bone, Life and Death in the Colonial Chesapeake.
If walls could talk, these would probably say, I need help and repairs now. It's been about 50 years since any major repair work was done here at St. Luke's. But there is some good news. Supporters have won a $250,000 Save America's Treasures grant. It is a matching grant, so they have to raise another $250,000. There's about $60,000 in the bank so far.
Meantime, supporters of historic St. Luke's are enjoying their share of the Jamestown spotlight. Glad their side of the story is also being told. Don Roberts, 10 on your side.
Now, from the station on your side, this is Wavy News 10.
One local hospital is ready for Ebola with this robot. We'll explain how it works. Plus, there's a scam to tell you about, and it has to do with your E-ZPass.
And that's why I contacted you guys. Get the word out. Simple as that.
We're on your side with details.
American and Afghan special forces were working side by side on a dangerous mission. They were headed for the Wardak province, not far from Kabul, known to be a volatile region. Their target was a Taliban compound. As their chopper approached, it came under fire. The Taliban claim they fired a rocket-propelled grenade, destroying the chopper and killing everyone on board. 22 Navy SEALs, 5 Army air crewmen, 3 Air Force airmen, 7 Afghan commandos, their civilian interpreter, and a dog, part of the SEAL team. A former SEAL commander talked about the loss.
Recognize that these men were doing something that they love to do.
The SEALs were from at least 2 units, one being SEAL Team 6, the same unit that took down Osama bin Laden in May. Although no one killed is believed to be part of the bin Laden mission. Congressman Bobby Scott issued a statement Saturday afternoon, in part calling this not only a tragedy, but a vicious massacre. Congressman Scott Ridgell came to the Wavy studio. He serves on the House Armed Services Committee. We asked him during a live interview if the attack could have been retaliation for bin Laden.
It's not my understanding that that would be the case. I think, what we're focused on here in our office is just putting our arms around our SEAL community.
No one from Dam Neck is talking. SEALs have always been tight-lipped for their own protection as well as the country's, but they are also tight-knit, a family, feeling the loss deeper than anyone.
Wavy News 10 brings you special coverage of Sandy's cleanup efforts.
Look at this. This is the beach road, and the force of the ocean waves just picked it up and carried it.
No one brings you closer to the aftermath of Sandy than Wavy News 10. From the worst hit areas in the Outer Banks to Virginia Beach and the Eastern Shore, the best perspective captured high above from Chopper 10.
A week ago, on December 23rd, Michael Towns told 10 on Your Side's Lori Crouch he has no plans of leaving his job at HRT.
I think if you look, as I said yesterday, at our overall accomplishments here at HRT over the last decade, they've been tremendous in a resource-poor environment. That's what I stand on.
2 documents 10 on Your Side obtained from sources say otherwise. It appears Towns is on a fast track to unemployment. 4 members of the HRT board sent Towns a letter indicating they will bring a resolution to the table next month to fire Towns, but are willing to negotiate a settlement if he's open to it. The letter goes on to say, quoting here, "In the absence of such a settlement, we will bring forward the resolution," end quote. In other words, resign or lose your job. Towns is under fire for millions of dollars in cost overruns and delays with Norfolk's light rail project. HRT board members and Norfolk city leaders told us last week they're tired of budget surprises.
When it reached $289 million, why didn't somebody tell me? Why do I have to wait until $50 million later to find out that we're over budget? Why not? Why don't I get that information sooner and quicker?
Wright's signature is on the letter sent to Towns, along with Chesapeake's Rick West and Virginia Beach's John Urin and Jim Wood. 10 on Your Side has also learned that the Virginia Beach City Council is drafting a resolution seeking Towns' firing, citing the cost overruns and delays.
I am the person to be held accountable for HRT's performance. There are clearly other entities that have issues of accountability. I think they will be addressed.
But many say the buck stops with Towns.